Yeah, we are live. Another episode of the Calcio Connection podcast. Scudetto celebration, my friends. Although, to be honest, I'm going to be celebrating until a new champion is crowned. Hopefully, that's years away. It might be a year away, but I'm going to keep celebrating until that time comes. Alex Donno, of course, alongside Jerry Mancini, as always. And I know, Jerry, I know you're bummed about Lazio. You're the number one Interista in my book. So, of course, you had to be part of this Scudetto celebration. Jerry, by the way, hates it that just because he writes some stories on an Inter site on the Serpents of Madonnina, that now people are accusing him of being an Inter supporter, and it drives him crazy. So I like to poke the bear. Jerry is the number one Interista. I tell everybody, Jerry, you are allowed to celebrate with us whenever you want to. And I showed you that photo the other day, Jerry, of in some of the celebrations in Milano, there were actually Lazio fans waving the Lazio flag, celebrating with the Interisti. I'm sure that has something to do with the twin curvas, the Curva Nord for both clubs or whatever. But listen, man, if there are Lazio supporters celebrating on the streets of Milan with Interisti, I will let you celebrate with us, sir. Jerry, how are you?
Okay. I was shocked to see that because you know what? I'm the one who throws a lot of banter on Twitter, but I'm also the one to throw it right back at myself, and I'm not shy to. I like the fun and just spicing it up. But when I was calling out a Roma fan for being with the Inter fans, and I kind of insulted him, and then literally people were showing pictures of Lazio. It's like, oh man, I have to take that down. But you know what? I left it and just chewed it. But there's the history of Lazio and Inter. I think they're best friends, and I laugh when some Lazio fans say I hate Inter, and I see a few Inter fans say I hate Lazio. And it's like, okay, hold on, they're not rivals. They support one another. There's a long time history between them. Now I don't want to get into the politics and all that stuff. That's not what I really care about. It's just the fans itself appreciate and respect one another, and I don't know who said it to me, and I agree that it's Inter and Lazio versus Napoli, Juventus. No, not Napoli. Sorry, it's Inter and Lazio versus Roma, Juventus, and Milan. That's what it is. That's just the narrative I kind of find, where those three always have something against art clubs, and there's always an ultimatum or something.
Well, for me, it's when you talk about rivals, I'm not even that upset. I'm really not upset at all about Mourinho going to Roma. Now, that's probably a whole different conversation with Jerry because he's a Laziale. But for me as an Interista, really the only things that could have broken my heart were, of course, Mourinho to Juventus. But I don't think in a trillion years he would do that. I mean, maybe if that's literally the only team that would offer him a job. But if he had any, even if it was the Portuguese second tier, he would probably take a job there over Juventus. That would obviously bother me. And yeah, Mourinho to Milan would have bothered me. But Mourinho to Roma, it's not really a rival. And I'm not saying that as banter on the size of their club or anything, but historic rivalry. It's really, for me, the hatred is for Juventus and a little bit towards Milan as well. Let's bring in our special guests. And yeah, as Art Morelli said, yeah, it's a live chat with four Interisti. We're celebrating, bro. We're celebrating, Art. We're celebrating until a new champion is crowned, which is at least a year away. I want to welcome in first Anthony Privatera, who does a great job with Inter Worldwide. And just so people know, I'm going to be doing a spot with Anthony for his channel as well after we wrap this one up. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Anthony, congratulations, sir. Welcome back to the show. How are you?
I'm doing really well, man. Congratulations to you and every other Interisti around the planet. We deserve it as fans. 11 years is a long time to be not crowned champion of your country when you still have 18 league titles and you expect to gain some sort of success season in, season out. So well earned from all the fans. They're a huge reason why this club has been able to withstand so much of adversity in the last decade. And yeah, I'm with you, man. I won't stop celebrating until they crown a new champion, which is a long time away. So the party's in its very early days, man. And thank you for having me again.
And I hope it's a really, really long way away. And I know by me saying that, there's going to be people in the live chat that are they're all financial experts. They're going to tell me about Steven Zhang's debt and all that. I'm not going to worry about that right this second. We also welcome in our good pal, Mikey, who does an awesome job on the Brothers of the World pod. We would have also invited Hristo on, give him my best, but I think it's like 5 a.m. right now where he lives. So I don't think that was going to work out. Luckily for Anthony, even being in Australia, they're so far ahead of us in the time zone that it's daytime for him when it's nighttime for us. So it works out every now and then. But Mikey, Brothers of the World, man, congratulations to you, sir. How you doing?
Yeah, thanks, man. It's crazy. I mean, first trophy for me as an Interista. I mean, I came in 2014, drugged myself all the way through the mud. And yeah, Hristo, props to him if you're listening to this. What's up, man? He's out in Macedonia, keeping up the Brothers of the World name. You know, got to be worldwide on that. But it's good to be back on. It's good to have a trophy. I don't know what to do with my hands half the time now talking about a trophy. I'm like, what do you guys do? How do you celebrate this? I'm used to the losses. I don't know much about the wins.
Yeah, and it's also like it's sort of a weird way to celebrate. And Anthony, I want your take on this as well, because normally, like even when Inter are winning Scudetti, it's usually in the most dramatic way possible, right? Like it usually comes down to the final match day, and you need a win, and you need some other result. So, like even if we go back a few weeks ago when Inter had like a big like 10, 11 point lead in the standings, I still wasn't convinced it was going to be easy, right? A part of me was thinking, okay, they're going to go on like a 3-game losing streak here and make this super dramatic. So I don't know if it's better or worse that they clinched it with 4 games still left. And we will talk a bit about the Sampdoria game yesterday, which was played with no pressure. And it turned out to be a really, really fun score fest, which was awesome. But like as an Interista, Anthony, I almost don't know what to do with myself. Like Mikey's talking about not knowing how to celebrate a trophy, and that's very valid. I also don't really know what to do with myself when Inter clinched that trophy in the least dramatic way possible, when there's still 4 games left to play and no pressure the rest of the way.
Yeah, well, in terms of seeing Inter win Scudetti, it was around about 2005, 2006, obviously, when we went on that little bit of a run. And we won that first title pretty comfortably because there was absolutely no competition in the league. But straight after that, besides being the dominant side in the league, it always did go down to the wire, where we started to drop games and we went down to the last game to Roma, where Zlatan Ibrahimovic had to come off the bench to score 2 goals against Parma to make sure that we could seal that Scudetto. You know, that one looked scary for about 60 minutes in the last game of the season there. And then there was the all-famous Siena goal for Diego Milito in the 55th minute as well, where we had to wait again. So nothing has ever come easy to Inter fans. And, you know, I don't think many Inter fans, I don't think I need to digress to the way we had to qualify for the Champions League under Luciano Spalletti. That was proper heart attack worthy, man. Like that was, no fan should ever have to go through that. That was really bad. So to win it in a very anticlimactic way, yes, maybe it would be better to win it on the pitch in some sort of way, like against Sampdoria. But I think this side, especially if we can keep the core together under Antonio Conte and Marotta, we're going to challenge for the league in the next year, 2, 3, 4. We will be up there challenging. There is plenty of time for drama and dramatic finishes. I'm taking this one as early as it comes, straight on the chin, because we have been the best side all season. We knew deep down we were going to win this Scudetto. We have just been hurt and burnt so many times. We couldn't say it. You know, you're live on air all the time. I have my channel as well. I had a big fear of looking stupid the whole time. But
oh my God,
here we are, man. And I'm just happy that it came because, yeah, in any way, shape or form, bro, Campione d'Italia.
You know, and I throw a lot of respect to Jerry, and I will remind everyone he is a Laziale. You can see the Lazio logo on his shirt. But first of all, Jerry and I, we ride or die together. Like I wanted Lazio in Champions League. I'm obviously disappointed at their result against Fiorentina yesterday. But you know, Jerry, on the one, and we'll get to that, but. You've even gotten to a point, Jerry, where you've been writing about Inter a lot this year. You've been doing some of the post-match recaps, winners and losers for Serpents of Madonnina. What has really stuck out to you, Jerry? Because I really thought that a turning point for Inter was really, I think the 2-0 against Juventus is where I think a lot of us had the confidence that, okay, this team might really be able to do it this year. And of course, within a few weeks after that, they were in first place. They won a Milan derby, but if we look at the Inter, Jerry, from early in the season, early in the 2020-2021 campaign, there was a lot of sloppiness at the back. Conte was really, for a while, trying to use very high lines and pressing high, and it left the back three very exposed on the counterattack. Now, we had to watch some painful games with a bum like Kolarov playing in a back three, which didn't help matters. But, things really changed, and Inter became just a lot harder to score against later on in the year. What were some of the factors, Jerry, that really stood out to you as to how Inter were able to take over and grab the Scudetto by the throat?
Well, firstly, was not to play in 3 competitions anymore. I think that really helped them. Fortunately, like with Arthur being in the chat right now, I think that Napoli have really been fortunate not to any setbacks, as to they were like the one Italian team that had to play all 3 competitions so long into the season, and fortunately for them, it hasn't hurt their positioning in the table. Whereas Inter kind of bowed out earlier, and it's really benefit them. And I think the other talking point is Eriksen. Eriksen's free kick at a time against Milan was the turning point of this season. I understand that Vidal is always going to have a heart for Inter fans and his performance against Juve. And those are 3 very crucial points. I absolutely agree. But that's just one night. You have to look at what Eriksen's overall contribution has weighed to the team compared to what Vidal's overall contribution has weighed to Inter. You know what I mean? Like, I understand that everyone has a special heart because of the rivalry, and he kissed the logo and all that stuff. And it's a fairy tale. It's a fairy tale story. But Eriksen is the reason why Inter won a Scudetto. I don't give a shit what anybody said, because I underestimated that midfield against Lazio, and I thought that Lazio had the better midfield going into that game. I thought everything was perfect for Lazio. The striker, Cherby, nothing came through, okay? Absolutely nothing came through. Lukaku destroyed Lazio. The midfield of Eriksen made a massive difference compared to the first time they played, where Gagliardini started in the middle with Vidal and I believe Brozovic, and wasn't as effective. It's Eriksen. It's his ability to adapt, to play more deeper, to contribute on the attack, to adjusting to what Conte had wanted, and what Conte was kind of stubborn and kind of became a little bit more flexible with him and understood that he didn't have the pure qualities of playing in his system, but overall, like, it helped. Jerry basically alluded to this, but for the biggest factor, help for Inter. Yeah, I absolutely agree. Not in going into Art's point there, that's the major factor as to what hurt Napoli, is that playing all those games in a condensed schedule. It's not like you're playing every week one match like you normally do in past seasons. If you're progressing further into these competitions, it's not, everything becomes more hectic because the Serie A schedule is very condensed and they started late. And then you had the Europa League / Champions League, which adds on additional games. And then you have the Coppa Italia. And as in the 2020-21, like into the calendar year, everything became much harder. And so for me, those are the 2 talking points. I believe that Conte tanked it in Champions League. We talked about this last time. There's conspiracy. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. I don't think anybody would ever bow. I don't know. I don't think anybody would bow down to like just lose. You know what I mean? Like, these guys are trained to win. No one fucking is trained to lose, regardless. Unless you're maybe dead last and you don't have any aspiration left and you know you're going to Serie B, sure. But they're professionals. They'll do whatever it takes to win. And the last point, Skriniar. Skriniar has, like, I really believe that he hurt Inter last year, not being comfortable in a back 3 and being more preferred to play in a back 4. And this is a player where I'll say needed a year to adapt and understand Conte's tactics and kind of buy into it. Whereas I believe that Godin didn't buy into it, kind of struggled, and that's why he was sold and gone to Cagliari. So as much as he's a good player, and I think that he did have a lot of quality to offer, the difference was that Skriniar was willing to be more adaptation and try to like fit into Conte's style, whereas Godin kind of like checked out and wasn't happy with what the role was given to him. So credit to Skriniar, because as he's one of the best players in the box. I think his aerial presence is one of the best, if not the best. He scored, well, I don't know how many goals he scored off set pieces. Even in the back end when he's defending, most physical player among him, Bastoni, and De Vrij. I know De Vrij is people will probably say he's your best defender. I don't think so this season. I rate Skriniar ahead of him. I just think that a lot of times he made really risky challenges in the box. And there's one thing that I believe it was our friend Uncle Sharma who said that I don't know what it's called, the terminology where like he did it against Joaquin Correa, where he kind of like intercepted the ball, but he pivoted, like he put his feet into the ground and like really intercepted the ball perfectly. I don't know what the actual terminology for it is, but he's done it a lot of times this year where he's planted his feet into the ground and like just was able to like strip the ball off a forward and avoid taking a card, which was like pretty impressive. I don't know the actual words off the top of my head, but those are kind of some of the points that have really contributed to Inter season. It's easy to say Lukaku, what Lukaku, it's a given. He's been your most productive player in the last 2 years, but you have to look outside the box and say, what are other contributing factors that really made a big difference? And those are kind of the type of things that really stand out to me.
There were, to pick up on that point, guys, there were a lot of what ifs. Like, can you imagine if things had gone a different way with some players, right? Because there was a lot of buzz before the season started that Skriniar was being shopped. I know that I heard from plenty of Tottenham fans about how they were going to buy Skriniar, and then, of course, it never actually happened. And then there were some deleted Twitter accounts after that with some people that I would argue with. We all know how close, and I don't know how true the Skriniar stuff was, but I am pretty confident that Eriksson would have been offloaded in January had someone been willing to pay his wages. And because of COVID, nobody was, because the only clubs big enough to afford his wages just decided this isn't something we want to spend money on right now. And so who knows, like if he had been offloaded somewhere, if not for COVID, he wouldn't have had the second half of the season that he had with Inter. I think that was one of those big what ifs that who knows how different the season might have been if that had been the case. I want to go around.
Alex,
oh, go ahead, Jerry.
I got a question for you. When does Conte's contract expire? This is the second year of what? Year 4?
One more year. Yeah.
He's got next year's his last year?
Yeah.
To answer, I'll answer Art's question, because I actually wrote a piece about this back in November, and I still think he's gonna outsee his contract. He won't be gone this summer. And depending on how it goes next year and what the long-term project is, I can see him extending his contract maybe for another year or two. I think he's in for the long haul. His relationship with Beppe Marotta is excellent. The two see eye to eye. And I think this whole pandemic overall has really changed Conte's mindset of the fact that they couldn't pay wages, they had to take risks, just a different approach to everything in the football world. And it may have opened his mind in giving him a new insight of how things are being worked today. And I just think that Conte is starting to become a little bit more flexible and maybe not as demanding, if that's the right words. But I think he's in for the long haul until Inter really crashes and things start to go spiral. But it's been 2 productive years for Inter. You can't say it's not. And that's just how I just see it for them. I don't see him going anywhere.
Yeah, and I want to go around the table on this. I agree with Jerry. I think bare minimum, I think one more season. I think he'll see out the contract. And there's been some rumor, but it's so hard until we get a clearer picture of what sort of a budget there is. And I know there are some dire reports in some of the Italian papers, so I don't know. But I think if nothing else, Conte, I think we'll see out the final year of his contract. I have heard some rumors in the last month or so about an extension. Obviously, there are players who need extensions as well. I think they would like to give Lautaro Martinez an extension and Skriniar. Well, actually, no, Skriniar organized his a couple of years ago. But there are some people who need extending there in the front office and on the pitch. I think the big thing for Conte, if he's going to be more content to stick around, and he seems happy right now. He always wants clarity and transparency as to what's expected from him. I think one of the reasons why a little over a year ago, why he was really upset and why he was lashing out was he kind of felt that the club hung him out to dry and that they weren't really clear, with him and with the Italian media as to what was expected of him. Like, was he expected last year to win the Scudetto in the first season? Well, they fell short of that. How come you didn't make it clear that that wasn't the goal for year one? And I think heading into next year, I think a big thing for Conte is, and he's going to want the club to make this clear, talk to whoever they know in the newspapers, make whatever statement you have to make, that he's not necessarily expected to get this club to, let's say, the Champions League quarterfinal. I think that's going to be very important for him because, you can remember years ago at Juventus when he had that line of taking, a 10 euro bill into a 100 euro restaurant, right? I think he wants people to know that, hey, yeah, we're going to be first pod in Champions League next year from winning the Serie A, but if we not only can't make big investments in the squad, but we're having to reportedly cut salary by 15%, which means we may not be bringing back Alexis, who I'd hate not to bring back next year, or we may not bring back Vidal, which I wouldn't really mind if Vidal didn't come back next year, to be quite honest. But if we need to cut down the wage bill, Inter need to make it very clear that I'm not expected to make a super deep run in Champions League, right? So I think he wants everyone to know what the reasonable objectives are, and then he's not going to make a stink the way he was making a stink a year ago. Mikey, I'll go first to you on this. How much longer do you expect Conte to stay at Inter?
Yeah, as much as, we always talk about how the pandemic has hurt the club. Of course it has. It's hurt every club in the world. But I feel like it's almost helped Inter in a way because it has basically meant that Antonio Conte and Inter and some of the players like Skriniar that we mentioned earlier have all been stuck with each other, have had to all learn each other. Eriksen too. I think because of that, the money that Conte makes, nobody else is going to give him that in this climate. So he's going to see out the contract at least, depending on how long, the project lasts. If Conte agrees with what Steve Zhang and the rest of management want to, do with cutting salary and going on from that. If you keep Conte happy and you appease him in the transfer market, you are transparent with him, like you said, I think he could stay even beyond that contract. He could stay another year or two. I don't think he'd stay more than 5. I think that's the max. I forget his tenure at Juventus. I forget the exact
I think it was 3 years.
3 years, yeah. I think he could definitely outdo that at Inter. It just really all depends. I think it's still a very fluid situation, from the pandemic and all. So I think he'll stay at least another year, and he could go, I would say, as many as 5.
What do you think, Anthony?
It's a tough one. Because, his form says that there's a meltdown incoming any moment now and he could walk away. But I really don't think that's the case. I think all things given in the world with the pandemic, we have a much more logical way of approaching this sort of situation. There is no way we should be looking for another manager, considering our direct opponents and their situation with their managers as well. We're in a point in time now where continuity is probably your biggest advantage going into a new season. And Inter was able to win the Scudetto this season with the shortest preseason of anybody in Serie A. And I actually think it was an advantage doing that because we had that continuity, whereas some people were flying back from their countries after being with their families, after not concentrating for anything up to 3.5 weeks to a month. I think that was very important. So going into next season, as long as the ownership can guarantee to people like Marotta and Conte that the stability will come, we're behind the project. You may have to withhold your wage for a little bit or not, or just take a percentage of it away for a little bit, but everything has a plan to be okay. And first and foremost, and most importantly, we are one of many in the same boat. We are not the only club in Europe / the world of football, sport, everything that has to cut costs at the moment. So
right.
we never expect the Italian media to go anywhere besides the side that they usually go in reporting the news or the headlines, but they're going to really start to struggle to hide behind the facts at the moment, man. And that's all I'll say about that.
Yeah, and on that, I want to address this as best we can. So Bruno asked, and I'll read it for those who are listening audio only. How long does Zhang hang around until a new owner is sought out? Any news on a new sponsor? I think as far as the new sponsor, most signs are pointing to Hisense, right? I see their TVs in Target and Best Buy, so that's about how much I know about that company. But it's an electronics company. I think not quite as recognized, but it's kind of similar to Samsung, who was also rumored to be a shirt sponsor for Inter for quite some time. But most of the noise that I'm hearing is Hisense as far as the new shirt sponsor goes. It's going to be weird after 2 decades plus seeing Pirelli no longer on the shirt. I mean, obviously, I'm happy that they're doing better business because they really were giving Pirelli like 1990s rates, and we need to up that revenue. But at the same time, it was so iconic to Inter to have Pirelli on the shirt that it's going to be odd. As far as how long Zhang and Suning are going to hang around, I mean, I'll go around the table. I'll ask you first, Anthony, because let me give you my take first. Obviously, there have been a ton of rumors over the past few months about, are they going to sell the entire club, or are they going to sell a portion of the club, or are they only going to look for a loan and not sell any of the club? My take is I don't think Suning wants to go anywhere until they have secured the stadium deal that they're working on in conjunction with AC Milan and the city of Milano, because I think Suning looks at that as a tremendous potential revenue stream. Right, because once you can get that stadium project moving forward, and if you can even get the club in there for a couple of seasons before you sell, that's really going to raise your revenue. I mean, we know Italy is really stuck in the Stone Age outside of this. I mean, the only large club in Italy who has their own stadium is Juventus, and it really helps them out revenue-wise. Whereas, for clubs in the Premier League, it's normal for every team to have their own stadium, and this is something that Inter and Milan are working on. So personally, I think Suning are going to try so hard not to leave or not to sell until the stadium is in place and they can, secure more value for their investment. Because once the stadium is in place, not only can they profit some from it, but they can also raise their valuation for the club and sell it for more money. Do you agree with that, Anthony?
Yeah, for sure. Also, I think if they were going to jump ship, they would have done it by now. There would have been no need for them to endure this shitstorm that's been going on for the last how many months or how long of the season, media-wise and just scrutiny-wise in general. So the message has been clear from Zhang and everybody associated with Suning that they are going to try their best to make this project work. Hopefully, as I said, the relationships remain healthy and the communication remains efficient from the top down, because we're a very well-structured club at the moment in terms of putting our theory into practice on the pitch. Everything's working like clockwork. It'd be a shame if something as fundamental as the structure from the top were to collapse, because the hard work has been done on a foundational level, on a coaching level, on a fitness level, on a tactical level. Everything has worked. We've lost 2 goddamn games all season, and I just really want to see this project continue. So, and to just allude into the last question that was spoken about with Conte, again, there's no reason why, if the project continued to do that over and over again, there's no reason, like Mikey said, he couldn't stay 5 years and, buck the trend of him leaving clubs a little bit early.
What do you think, Mikey? How much longer do you think Zhang and Suning hang around?
This is one that I think is really tough. Of course, I agree that they definitely would have jumped ship if they really wanted to by now. If there was no way that they could continue to run the club, they would have. They're smart guys. They would have gotten out. They would not have, had the disgrace of being the owners that liquidated Inter. You can't be that guy. You can't be those guys. So I think they did their calculations, they did their homework, and they're working on it now. And I think things are going to get pretty stable here in the next year or so. And then after that, I think they could be out pretty soon, to be honest, maybe 2 or 3 more years. I think if someone were to come along and was like, all right, we'll give you that $1 billion valuation that you said mid-pandemic, maybe if we win a little bit more, you bump that up a little bit more. But I think if someone were to come along for the right price in the next few years, I think there's nothing stopping Suning from selling.
Yeah, Jerry, I think a big thing for me, because I have a few friends who I correspond with a lot who are big time Interisti, and some of the sentiment is because they read the Italian papers about what could be very real issues about financial troubles and deferred wages and cutting the wage bill by 15%. And a couple buddies of mine will say, hey, like, what are Suning doing? Like they should cash in, they should sell. Why are they being selfish? For the better of Inter, they should sell it now. Obviously, they're not going to be around forever. I don't think they're going to be Inter's owners 10, maybe even 5 years from now, like Mikey said. But I mean, for me, Jerry, as an Interista right now, even knowing that there are going to be some financial challenges heading at least into next year, I think some stability at the top is important, right? Because for a lot of these Interisti who are saying, oh no, it's time for Suning to cash out and get the hell out of here now if they can't afford to run this club like Real Madrid or PSG or something. But my thing is, be careful what you wish for, because if Suning were to decide tomorrow to sell and cash in, pretty good chance then Conte decides, peace, I'm out. Marotta decides, I'm out, and perhaps even new ownership may not even want those guys around, because sometimes new owners want to put their own stamp on the front office and bring in their own people. So for the sake of continuity, because even if Inter have to make a couple of cuts onto the wage bill, with Conte and with the spine of the team together, they can absolutely compete, if not win another Scudetto next year. The race might be tighter. Don't get me wrong. I don't think they run away with it necessarily, because maybe Milan brings in a couple of nice additions now that they're more than likely going to Champions League and they're going to have some extra revenue. But I think with this coach in place and most of these players in place next year, this team is absolutely going to compete and could perhaps get the second star. So for anyone who's saying Suning need to sell right now, I would say be careful what you wish for, because I wouldn't want to turn this project upside down right now. Maybe a year or two would be the right time to do it. What do you think?
Well, I think there's a trend here. It's not just Inter and their future. You got Juventus now. What about if they finish in the Europa League? There's just big question marks. Ronaldo, how do you offload him? Then you go to Milan. Yes, fine. If they were to qualify hypothetically for Champions League, everything doesn't get cured in one day. It's a start for them, but there's a lot of question marks still. They have to figure out the FFP. They got to balance their books still. They still have a lot of debt. Like, it's not just overnight they're going to start buying players. So there's still question marks there. What happens with their ownership with Elliott Fund and what's going on with those guys? I don't know what the whole thing is with Milan. There's always question marks with like Maldini and what has happened in the last 2 years. And then you go, I think Napoli, if anything, is the most certain and stable club of the top seven, if you were to ask me, where they have their books stabled, break even, and they have a kind of a good identity. Now, here's a problem with Napoli now. You get rid of Gattuso. You're going back 3 steps. I'm sorry. Like, you're not helping your cause. Yeah, okay, fine. You bring Spalletti in. But you need a season to get Spalletti's philosophy in and understand what is going on. How do you adapt that? How do you get they need continuity. You can't go from Sarri you go to Ancelotti, from Ancelotti you go to Gattuso, now you're going to your 4th manager, which, like I just said, could be Spalletti. So there's issues there. And then I'm going to go to Lazio, which really shocked me today, and it was Lotito's kind of today was his birthday, and it was what he said that really kind of caught me off guard. And he said the objectives must be achieved. I hope, first of all, that my health will assist me and that the conditions can be created to celebrate the following birthdays together. Finally, I hope that my son Enrico will continue on my journey in representing the Bianco-Celesti colors. So this kind of got a lot of fans off guard, and I think that Tito is not doing well. I think that this guy is not healthy, and these guys are like, what, 65, 70. These owners are old. Yeah. Napoli's owner is old. Lazio's owner is old. Inter has a young owner, so they're fortunate.
Yeah, I think ADL is going to hand it off to his son at some point as well. Yeah, it's a similar situation. I mean, maybe not right away, but in a few years, whenever it is.
Both clubs are screwed. in the situation we hand off our clubs to their sons, because they have absolutely dick all experience in managing a club. Let's just be honest. If I were me as a fan, I'd like Lotito to sell the club now to someone who has great aspirations and is willing to take the club now to the next level. I think he's done a great job in 17 years balancing it out. But and then you got Salernitana, who could be promoted to Serie A as of tomorrow if they win. And he owns that club as well. So there is a conflict of interest. What do? Do you sell Lazio or do you sell your other club? What's your interest now, right? Does he want to get out of it completely? There's a lot of questions. But in regards to Inter, you know what? I'm saying this is that Inter's not the only one in the boat. There are all these top clubs are actually finally hitting a wall where there's a lot of questions and a lot of uncertainty. Now, here's one thing: if Conte were to leave this summer, okay, and we get a Mourinho surprise, the guy who I see replacing him, and I'm gonna be honest, is Simone Inzaghi. I see him jumping the ship and going to Inter and committing, and I see that because he'll be patient for a season, and there will be a long-term goal for him where there is growth with Inter. Right now with Lazio, I don't see that. I think he's not convinced with the project, and that's why he hasn't put pen to paper into extending his contract. There has been rumors about possibly joining Tottenham Hotspurs. I don't see that happen.
If you ever want to win a trophy, that's not the place to go.
That's what I was thinking too. And a lot of people are calling me out that they'll spend more money than Lazio. Yeah, fine, but they don't spend it right. And they're in massive debt because they got to pay off that stadium. So I think a lot of people forget they owe millions of dollars for that stadium. So right now they can't buy the players that many people think a top club can do. But I don't know the financial situations of Inter, but it's a very tough situation because they're not allowed to use money. I don't know, their whole money frozen, and they got these buyers. I don't really buy. I don't read too much into it, but at the end of the day, I guess whatever happens, and either it's gonna happen. I think these owners my outlook, I'll end it like this, is that they care about what's best for the club. And I think that's the most important thing, is that they're trying every possible way to try to help this club and not let it sink. So they're trying to get money in other areas. They're trying to sell off their shares to make money. There's been I don't know, I don't know the whole background, but I'm pretty sure they sold a few shares to earn some money that was frozen, and now they've got an investor in the background, 240 million. So as much as it's been bad, I think a lot of fans have to look at the outlook is that, okay, this is a situation that they don't want to be in, and it wasn't a situation that they put themselves in. It's the Chinese government that kind of screwed them over. So they're ready to spend and get going. But, no, you do not want American owner, okay? So what?
No, you don't.
The only team I want an American owner to continue to go to is Roma, so they can keep on fucking Roma to the ground, okay? They can keep Roma right to the fucking ground, because these freaking frackins are going to fuck Roma as well. Don't worry. Mourinho's not going to save the day. He's going to shit the bed in 6 months because you can't buy any fucking players. I wrote a whole list of goddamn dead weight they got there. I got to hear people telling me that Dzeko's still good. Dzeko's 37 and he's on one leg, goddamn it.
Finito. Dzeko is finito, and I hate to say it. I like Dzeko, but he's done.
Be realistic, man. Pastore. Yeah, okay, Javier Pastore was great at PSG. Guess what? Roma ruined him. And I hate this theory that, Inzaghi's shit the last 5 years. Coppa Italia's mean nothing. Super Coppa Italiana's mean nothing. Guys, trophies measure success. It doesn't matter, man. That's what people look at. They look at what you have won. They don't give a fuck if you went to a Final Four of a Champions League and won absolutely dick squad. People remember Conte for what he's won. People remember Mourinho for what he's won. People don't remember Spalletti for fucking, guys, look what he did. He brought us back to the yeah, well, you're an Inter fan who's gonna remember that because there's nothing else to fucking remember.
I remember the heart attacks.
Oh,
There's
my-
nothing to get those heart attacks out of me. That
It's
pain.
impossible to forget.
How can you forget when there's nothing to win since fucking like what 2011? Like honestly, that's the problem. Like I don't remember. Like these are things I remember from Zaghi, what he's been able to achieve with no budget. The fucking people don't forget. Like this guy has a budget like 70 million, whereas like Juventus, Milan, and Inter have budgets of like who have spent what 300-400 million, like northbound, like come on, like and I hate when people say this too. Okay, oh Inter won because they spent 200 million. Well, hold on, guys. Let's be realistic. If Lazio was spending 200 million, you'd be saying the same fucking shit as well. Let's be realistic here.
Yeah,
the
other thing is, and like the other thing is, like in every league in Europe, you have to spend money to win your league, and Inter don't even have the highest payroll in Italy. So the real question should be, what are fucking Juventus doing outside of Champions League position when they have the highest wages in Italy by far? So okay, I mean that seems like a big problem to me.
Mariki.
Before we
We've got to get to that game.
Yeah, we have to.
They got trashed this morning. They got trashed, man. How good was that to see? Even for how easy it was to wake up at 4:45 a.m. to catch that game as a neutral this morning.
Is that why you were up so early? I noticed you were up really early Australian time. Was it to watch that game, or you always wake up that early?
Which game are you talking about?
The Juventus-Milan game.
I wake up early, but not that early. But that was easy to wake up for. And I knew Juventus would struggle because Milan have a way of just being able to group together this season. Like Pioli has struggled, but we're in like match day 35 now, and they're still third on the ladder. So big up to them. It was meant to crash well before this, and they're still sticking around in there. But Juve, it was really, really bad. And I think it was summed up well when the camera panned out to Agnelli a couple of times, and when Rebic scored that cracker of a second goal, and Dybala just turned around and walked back up the stairs. I felt like a big dagger was put through their heart this morning. You love to see it. You love to see it.
Well, and that was a really interesting game, and I want Mikey's take as well, because it's like my preferred outcome happened, like Juventus getting humiliated, especially in their own stadium, and they'd never lost to Milan before in that stadium. So I was fine with that. I would have been fine with either outcome, though. I mean, a draw would have been a little bit disappointing either way. But if had Juventus embarrassed Milan, then I could have seen, the Milanisti meltdown from winter Scudetto to out of Champions League. But honestly, this is even better. Okay, like Juventus getting humiliated in their home stadium by Milan. That was, and I didn't get to watch the entire game. I watched from about the 65th, 70th minute on, because I was working the Inter Miami match today, and the Juventus Milan game started when that one was in the second half. So I didn't get to see the whole thing. I'm gonna have to go back and watch it. But Mikey, what were your emotions like watching that game?
Oh yeah. Oh man. And we get a documentary about this. Oh man, this is gonna be great.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, we get to. Well, what do they call that show? It's
all or nothing.
All or
but
nothing.
It's just nothing. It's just nothing.
They chose nothing.
Yeah, they should just call it Juventus Nothing, and that would be great.
It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good.
Well, the crazy thing about All or Nothing is, like, if Juventus had finished first place, won another Scudetto, 0.0 chance I watched that shit documentary. But them falling out of Champions League, I'm going to be watching every episode, and I'm going to be drinking champagne watching every episode.
Oh man, it's going to be crack.
It's going to be so fucking bullshit though, because they're copying this fucking from Formula One. How Formula One did that, like that series where they had like the whole season and everything, and like the behind the scenes. You've fucking stealing a chapter out of Formula One's books. That's what I'm calling, man.
Well, it's not them. Like, they've done the show before. Like Tottenham had a season of it last year. I don't know who else has done it.
Yes, it reminds me 2 seasons ago. That's right. Yep. That was shit.
It reminds me of the NFL. They usually do a team a year, and I remember like it's usually a kiss of death in the NFL when they have that. So like I remember the Browns getting it 1 year. I mean, they're not that great anyway usually, or like the Raiders getting it 1 year after they were good. Like something about getting a documentary is just the kiss of death. Like I think didn't Barca have one the year that they like collapsed to Liverpool? Like just word to the wise, never get a documentary. But to go back to the match, like I've noticed that with Juve this season, it's a lot like watching Inter in the banter era. If a team is compact, does not attack first, is defend first, and is really good on the counter, they're gonna kill you. Because like Juve, their losses this year, I mean, take your pick, but losing to us, I mean, like Conte just at least in the league, like coached Pirlo off the pitch. I mean, Benevento, they're a little bit of an attacking team, but they weren't attacking that entire match. I mean, that was an assist by Arthur. Like, it's just every time I watch Juve, teams have figured out that if you defend against Pirlo's tactics, you're going to find a goal somewhere. And if a goal doesn't come on the other end from Morata, Ronaldo, or Chiesa, a goal's not coming.
Yeah. Jerry, did you? I have to live vicariously through all of you because I had to miss most of the match. Did you watch Juventus Milan today? And was it glorious? And obviously, I know you don't like Milan either, but you also don't like Juventus. This is why you're basically an Interista. Like you hate the teams that we hate. So I
fucking hate them both, man.
You are an honorary Interista.
Oh.
So how did you feel watching that game today?
I wanted a tie. I'm gonna be honest, just for Lazio's sake. But
because you could have still had a little bit of a chance. Yeah, that's
but
right.
Here's the thing. I said this I tweeted this out, is that I honestly believe their run-in against Torino and Cagliari this upcoming week is going to be much more difficult compared to Juventus for two reasons. Both teams are in form. I think Torino has one loss in the last like 5 or 6 games and playing really good football and trying to save their lives from relegation. And Cagliari, I believe, has won 4 or 5 in a row and have really turned their season around and are starting to look like a top 10 team right now. So those are the two matches I think that people need to see where Milan really stands. They beat a Juventus side who is not properly managed, where Pirlo's out of his depth, and it's a shit team. Guys, Weston McKennie's so overrated. He's fucking garbage. I'm sorry.
Yeah. And you're telling me, bro, and I'm sure Mikey hears the same thing. Dude, I'm American. Do you know how much I hear all the soccer bros? Oh, Weston McKennie, so awesome, dude. Like, I have to hear that shit nonstop. And then I tell them, look where Juventus is in on the table. It took an American player going to Juve for them to lose a Scudetto for the first time in 10 fucking years. Mikey, is it the same for you as an American?
Yo, I'm gonna be honest. I've never heard another American that did not watch Serie A, like this season at least, talk about Weston McKennie. Like it's always Pulisic. I forget that's how he pronounces it. Pulisic. That's all I hear.
Oh yeah, well that's true. And he is actually very good.
He's actually a good player. I've actually read.
He's actually good. And I never hear anything about McKennie. Of course, I'm not gonna bring him up. Like I mean, I think I've called him this many a time. I say he's the American Gary Medel. Like,
good one.
Got a lot of aggression. He can, have a good game here and there, but that aggression and lack of just raw skill just doesn't benefit the team.
Yeah, no, I guess I work with a couple people who are big American U.S. men's national team fans, and so I hear a lot about it. And I go to this one of the websites that I go to, and it's a great website. I'm not knocking them. I just find it funny. This I have to go to this website a lot for MLS game prep. It's called SBIsoccer.com, and they always do reports on Americans abroad because they cover basically the American teams and the American players, and once every 3 or 4 days, Weston McKennie's on the front page when they're talking about Americans abroad. So I see it. I see it quite a bit, man. I see it quite a bit. I want to get into. Go ahead, Jerry.
I want to add something actually, and it's not fair to Juve. I bashed on Juve and I said Weston McKennie to me is just not a good player. If anything, just maybe mediocre. I don't know. But there's another player I'm going to call out, and it's on Milan, and it's Hakan Çalhanoğlu. And I like to hear what Arthur or Vito and Arthur have to say, because I think this guy is not worth $7 million. His demands can go up his ass. I would tell, if I'm Paolo Maldini and this guy comes in my office, I'd be like, did you see yourself in the first half yesterday? You look like shit. The guy couldn't make a pass. The guy couldn't make an interception. He made errors in the final third. He was a disaster. And I get he had a better second half, but he doesn't give a good 90 minutes. And I don't know if it's because he was playing with Zlatan and it was hurting him. I don't know, but he was trying to do too much. And I'm going to be honest, if I had to choose between him and Luis Alberto, I think Luis Alberto is a much better player for a much better wage and like everything around. Like,
I agree.
I'm sorry. I'm not saying because I'm a Laziale.
I totally agree with you, man.
Alberto
I'm not a
has been
Laziale, but I
consistent
agree.
for 5 years, okay? He was mediocre 2 seasons ago. Fine. But he's been consistent. And this year, fine. He hasn't had like the 12, 15 assists like he had last year, but he's got 9 goals. And I think that's just as effective and productive for him. I just think that Luis Alberto contributes more to the game. He's much more better attacking. Yeah, he's too inconsistent. That's exactly what it is. Whereas Alberto is a very consistent player. Even with one leg yesterday, he still was offering more than what Çalhanoğlu does. I just don't think. I think people overrate him. He's way overrated. I would never give him the demand of his wages. Like if that guy's making more than Alberto, there's something wrong here, because I think that Luis Alberto, not even near the wages he makes, provides more. And the stats prove itself too. So like that's just the way I look at it.
So something I want to ask one more question to Anthony and to Mikey before we wrap it up, because one thing that kind of sucks is that I don't know. Obviously, I have so many people that I know through Twitter and social media and podcast friends and stuff who are Interisti. But what I'm jealous of is I can't celebrate in the street. Like I can't get a parade together in Miami to celebrate a Scudetto. I'm fully vaccinated. I would love to give hugs, but there's really outside of my father, who's an Interista, there's nobody for me to give a hug to for a Scudetto one. So Anthony, I don't know what it's like for your community over there down under. Do you know any Interisti in real life, or is it mostly just the virtual friends like me?
Well, for me, like I've got a few friends here. I've got Bruno on the channel as well, who lives nearby. I've also got my father as well. So I think he's more of an Interisti for me than he is for himself. But definitely still an Inter fan. We've got an Inter club in Sydney, but and we did used to meet a lot for a couple of games or 3 games a year. But I'm sure you can understand the biggest barrier to all this is just kickoff times. Like sometimes you're asking people to meet for a game at 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning on a Monday morning, a lot of the time for work. It's just not going to happen. So we've all just been sort of just messaging each other and whatnot. But I have been able to see my dad and a couple of friends as well. So it has been nice, man. But I think it's just the party's going to keep going online, man. And the more that we keep hearing about next season building up, I think the more Inter fans will just keep getting excited for the ride, bro.
What about you, Mikey? You know any Interisti in real life, or is it mostly just the Inter group chats?
Oh man, I'm in the middle of college football country, man. There's no Interista presence anywhere. It's just everyone that I've known online. Like big thanks to everyone who is on the pod with me. Risto, Chino, Dave comes on, you guys, Jerry included. We write together on Serpents of Madonina. So, I mean, everybody there, too. Shouts out to those guys, everyone in the group chats. Big inspiration for me was the original Interpod. I know a lot of Interisti on Twitter will remember those guys. Saf, Ben, Mark. Those guys, big inspirations. Those are the reason that I'm on pods today. I wanted
whatever happened to those guys. I remember you guys had one of them on, I think, recently, but why did they stop doing their pod?
Yeah, I mean, we've had Mark and Saf on. Ben, I think he just got off Twitter. I think they had a lot of scheduling issues and then just kind of fell out of it, but yeah, shouts out to all of those guys. Big inspirations for me. A lot of guys that have really kept, especially in the early days for me, like mid 2010s when everything was going to shit, guys that really kept my passion for Inter, just people that I could hear other than myself talking about Inter. I mean, those were all big for me. Congrats to all those guys for also going through all this, you guys also included. But
thank you.
Yeah, nobody in real life. My best friend is he's a Romanista, but other than that, I've got some friends that support some Prim teams, and they're always living vicariously through me. They're like, "Yo, congrats," and I'm like, "Yeah, y'all see me suffer," but other than that, nobody around here.
Now, Jerry, I know your
Same
father.
thing happened in a mess. Art? Where do you come up with this shit? I need to find out. Like your tweets are funny. I get.
He's the man.
If you guys found out all my gifts today, I sent out my pictures, everything. I woke up this morning and Carlo Garganesa had like all these gifts for me ready to go, and like he created all these like skits and everything. And I was just throwing them out at Juve today, like full ammo. Like you guys are hilarious. Like I suck at Twitter, and to piggyback on that, I've actually thought about getting off Twitter and kind of like deleting my account permanently for next season.
Don't do it, man. You're too good. The middle finger memes, those cannot die.
I respect that, but I find that Twitter is toxic, and I'm not gonna call it the name, but Vito knows who I'm talking about. And there was a person I saw him had a conversation back and forth with a certain somebody of being too pessimistic and negative, and I do agree with him on what he was saying. And it's not just that one person. There's a lot where people are just so negative, and like if you say Inter shit, it's not Inter shit, it's your mother's shit, and it's like what the fuck. It's like, bro, I said the team is shit, not your mother. Like, what are you, stupid or what? Like, it's football, relax. My banter should not affect anybody personal and their personal life. It's just a team that I just like to shit on. And if you can't throw shade back on me with Lazio sucks and Lotito is cheap and like, then you don't get what banter means. I'm sorry. Like banter should never get personal to anybody's life. Like it's just so stupid. I've gone to the point I just laugh about it today. Like now, the one guy called me out and said your mother and your family whore, and I was like, what are you talking about? Like, because I call her Juventus. He's like, tell your president he's fat. And I'm like, he's not my fucking president. I don't know Lotito. Like
he knows he's fat.
Call him fat if you want. I don't fucking care. But I just find that Twitter sometimes people showboat and hide behind a screen, and like they think it's like their full-time job. I write for The Athletic, and I'm the fucking best now. It's like, bro, you write for The Athletic, and you make $20,000 a year, okay? So a journalist does not make fucking millions of dollars. Let's be realistic here, because I know people who tell me how much they make, and writers don't make anything anymore like they probably did 10 years ago.
Here's the thing with the media game nowadays. You have to have like 5 jobs. Like if you have 5 jobs, you can make a pretty good living. Like a friend of mine who I work with in one of his jobs, he works commentary at Inter Miami, and he works for BN Sports doing commentary, and he works for CBS Sports HQ doing analysis, and he probably has like 3 other side gigs I don't even know about. So it's like, that's how you make money in the business.
Jerry, bro, next time someone hits you with all that like mother stuff, you got to just hit them with the meme where it's like, just fucking calm down, Greg. It's soccer. Like hit them with that meme. Like you just start. Don't reply. Just hit them with that one.
Oh man!
By the way, I was trying to kill a few more minutes here because our guy Raki Babi, I knew that he was that he wouldn't be able to join us promptly because he great son he is. He was taking his mother out to dinner for Mother's Day. And by the way, huge shout out. I don't know, is it Mother's Day in Canada and Australia? Because it seems like different country has different days. But it's been and for Anthony, it's already Monday, but Sunday in the States. Mother's Day today. So Rocky is a great son. He took his mother out. We did our little celebration actually yesterday because I knew I was going to have to work today with my wife, who is the mother of my child, and my mother, who's the mother of me. And I was a pain in the ass growing up. So a huge shout out to her for that. So I at least want to, if he can get in a couple minutes, I at least want to give him the chance to say hello before we wrap it up. But if he can't make it in a couple minutes, he's SOL. But Jerry, one thing I wanted to ask you before we start to wrap it up, aside from a few middle fingers that I saw go up on your Twitter account, your thoughts on the special one, Jose Mourinho going to your crosstown rival, Roma?
You can suck my dick.
Boy.
I knew that one was coming.
You can suck my dick, man. Fuck that asshole, man. You know what? I respect him as a manager for what he's accomplished. Like, any Lazio fan says, "Oh, he's shit. Fuck him. He went to Roma." You're stupid. I'm sorry. The guy is successful. He's earned trophies. He's got a treble with Inter. Like, you can't disrespect for what he's accomplished in his career. But he's walking into Roma territory now. That kind of gets pushed to the side. I don't disrespect him for what he's accomplished. I think that's wrong. You can't look at that because it wasn't with Roma. But now he's with Roma, and it's like, fuck you. Now, from here on out, it's Roma, Lazio, and you can go fuck yourself because I don't think he's going to do anything with this team personally. They don't have the budget to accommodate with him. He's going to make miracles like Simone Inzaghi now. He's going into a situation with like Inzaghi where he has to deal with what he has with a limited budget and hope that he can turn things around. Now, he has to get creative. He cannot think that this is 2000 and he's still living in the freaking ancient times of football. It doesn't work like that. He has to adapt and figure out something that's new. He's killed. How many teams has he killed now? Well, not killed. Well, just wasn't as successful as many would think he was. I think he was pretty good with Man United. He won a few trophies there, but other than that,
wait, the man is here now.
Too late.
Your timing could not have been worse because we're going to close it up in a few minutes, but I've got to let our guy Raki Babi wax a little poetic, man. Have you been celebrating the Scudetto nonstop for the past week, bro?
Bro, I don't even know where I've been for the past week. That's how hard I've been celebrating. Not just that. On top of that, today we had a nice Juve pack watch. You know, Juve might not even get Champions League. We're feeling good. It's good to be in Interisti right now. Almost makes up for all the shit we've been through, you know? And I want to wish a happy Mother's Day to all the beautiful mothers of Interisti out there. You know, we got to pay some love. I was just at dinner with my mother, so I apologize for being late.
No worries.
But I'm sending love to all the mothers, and it's good to be in Interisti. That's all I'm going to say right now.
Oh, that's right. Mother's Day. I forgot, man.
I told everybody you're a great son because you took your mother out to dinner for Mother's Day, which, you know, I'm a terrible son. I was working all day today. We did have our celebration with my mom and my wife yesterday, so we did Mother's Day completely off script. Hey, so Raki, we are going to wrap it up in a few minutes, but your thoughts, man, on the victory over Samp yesterday, because I can't remember the last time I've ever felt like less pressure watching an Inter match, and yet it was like one of the best offensive performances of the season. So it was fantastic.
I'm not going to lie. I thought that we were just going to go into that match just looking for a draw, just coasting. Like, I didn't think we'd really care. And I think it just shows that Conte's really raised the level of the team, you know, because these guys are going into a meaningless match looking for blood. 5-1, it was insane. I was not expecting it. And Pinamonti getting a goal, like, these guys are hungry right now. And Conte said after, he said, winning has to be a drug, and you can feel it. You know, you can feel it. I was a little premature. Last season, I thought we were going to come out with some trophies. I was like almost 100% certain. So when we went into this season, you know, we start off a little shaky. I was like, it's a mentality issue for these guys, but they're getting over it. That's what I'm seeing, especially from that Samp 5-1 win. Nothing on the table, and these guys are just going absolutely crazy.
By the way, I love the touch that you're wearing the kit with the Scudetto badge. I mean, freaking perfect, bro. Freaking mint. Hey man, as we wrap it up, and I want to have you on again for like a full episode in the future, so I could consider this like a preview of things to come. Do you have anything you want to promote, whether it be your social media, any projects you've got, any way, shape, or form, man? Where can people find you?
Listen, you can find me at NotChampagnePoppy, Twitter.com. Listen, I had a beautiful podcast planned, all right? I had a beautiful Super League podcast for the elites only. Yeah. And it came crashing down. Jerry, I love you. Okay, Lazio will get in the Super League. If Raki had his way, Lazio would be there. All right. Don't be mad at me, Jerry Mancini. I did have a Super League podcast. Didn't work out. UEFA's very corrupt. We know how it is. But
man, you know what?
I'm cooking. Raki is cooking. His gears are turning. You know, I got some shoe releases. I got something for Interisti. All right, I got something.
You know what? As long as Juventus is not in the top 4, I'm happy. I'm not a bitter Lazio fan. I'm realistic. I know what it's like. It is what it is. At the end of the day, people can tell me, say that your team's cheap. You got a cheap owner. You're a mid-table team. You're fucking boppity poop. I don't give a fuck, man.
There you go, Jerry.
I can't care less, man.
Jerry's here to vibe. Jerry, we got to discuss your anti-Maurici agenda when we get a chance. Maybe.
Fuck that loser, man.
Man. Don't start with me, Jerry Mancini. Don't start with me right now.
Fuck you. Do you like Mariki? Morstiki?
Bro, I'm Albanian, bro.
No! Oh, he's terrible, man.
Get that, Jerry Mancini. You think I don't like Maurici, bro? I got a Xhaka jersey, bro.
No, he's so bad. What's so good about him?
Bro, you should have seen him in Turkey. It's all right. I don't want to derail this. You know, I don't want my presence to derail this.
No, hold on. I want your honest opinion. Do you watch the Turkish league?
I watched him play in the Turkish league.
Okay.
I didn't sit there through whole matches, Jerry Mancini, but I saw what he's capable of. I'll tell you that much.
I like to ask you: is the competition in the Turkish league much easier compared to what he has to deal with in the Italian league? I'm serious because I don't know anything about the Turkish league.
The Turkish league is not obviously it's not a top 5 league in the world. We'll start there, but I do want to say this: he needs that point of adaptation, and that's the exact point. When Dzeko came over to Roma, Dzeko was an absolute. He looked like he was going to be a clown in Serie A. He did not look like he was going to be a serious striker. His first season at Roma, people wrote him off. I think he had like single-digit goals. I'm not even sure. It took him a while to get cooking. You know, so I think it's that tactical awareness. You're coming over from Turkey. It's not the same league. But I just want to ask you, Jerry Mancini, not to write Murici off yet. I'm not telling you to love Murici. I'm just give him a chance. Just wait.
Well, a lot of people. You know what? Isn't Velan Berisha Albanian as well, too, or no?
Berisha, yeah, he is.
I actually liked him, and I still think he's a good player. It's unfortunate that it didn't work out for him. That was one Albanian player who I actually stood by. I even wrote articles about him, positive, like about.
What about Strakosha?
I love Strakosha. You know what? I love Strakosha. You know what? At the beginning of the year, I thought that Mariki was going to be a good player. Here's the thing, though. Okay. I like to see a player who can progress and show me positive signs. I haven't seen that with Murici. I thought with Velan Berisha at times I saw that. With Strakosha, one of the best Albanian players probably to play for Lazio, maybe, I would say, that I know of. But who's a player that I keep on rating that has progressed so well in the league this year? And, Victor Osimhen. People were writing him off, saying that he wasn't good, that injuries hurt him, COVID hurt him, everything hurt him. But look, he's showing signs of what he can do in the Serie A. I haven't seen that with Murici, and that's what scares me. I haven't seen not one sign in the last 3 months. And Parma Coppa Italia does not count because they played their fucking B squad, and their B squad is like an F squad. So like, that's where I look at, and I do agree he does need a second season to adapt and all that. But I just need to see something that allows me to be encouraged about him. It scares me because like this just even yesterday when he won those challenges in the box and his headers were going nowhere and missed the target 1-1 right towards the goalkeeper. And like, those are the situations where he's known to be really good. He's a physical player who can win balls, who needs to get, everybody talks about, we don't get balls to Murici in the box. And when he does get it, like yesterday, 4 good chances, he does nothing with it. That kind of scares me because even if he gets stopped and it's a good quality chance on target, I'm happy because all of a sudden it's like, okay, wait a second. Here's a sign here. We've seen something he can provide, but I just don't see that with him. That scares me. But I will back you up. I will back you up with Thomas Strakosha and Velan Berisha. I know a lot of people will be against me about Berisha, and I know that a lot of people hate him for what he did against Celtic and his bad giveaway. But I think people forget that he only played like 5 games that year, and it's hard to like come in and play 1 game, have 10 games off, play a game. Like, how do you get your form? How do you get your rhythm in? Like that, I will defend anybody to that degree now. Where if you're playing 1 game off 10, playing a game off 10, there's no point, man. A guy who has so much talent is being shit to the ground. That's what's happening there. So it is what it is, but
you know, I appreciate you having an open mind about it. And you know, 3 out of 4 Albanians isn't that bad. All right, so you're still kind of wrapping us. I gotta respect that, Jerry Mancini.
Guys, I gotta wrap it up because we got a double header. I'm gonna go on Inter Worldwide in a few minutes.
Is it 3? I don't know. 2 out of 3.
Oh, happy Mother's Day to Cheeto Immobile's mom. Fucking love you.
Not your mom?
Oh no, not his mom. Sorry, his wife.
Jerry, does your wife watch these streams, Jerry? You got to be careful out here, man.
Yeah,
no, she knows. She knows how much I love him and his wife. Don't worry, man. My wife actually, you'll laugh. She grabs my phone to look at my Instagram to see what Lazio players are doing and what's going on in their lives because she like thinks they're they're good looking, right? So,
okay, I see how it is.
So she follows them because of their looks, but I don't blame her. That half the team's hot. I'll be honest. I think she's not a raw. Hey, I think Lazio has the best looking players in City. Maybe Sergei.
I've never thought about that with any team.
Sergei, Strakosha.
Strakosha's a good looking man. You know how we do it in Albania.
Alberto's not bad. Correa, hey.
Milinkovic, not bad.
Yo, if we went through Inter, just the amount of men with no hairline, I don't know if we could compete. I'm not gonna lie to you. So you win this Scudetto, Jerry. You win the good.
He wins the hotness Scudetto.
Looks. Oh man.
But hey, I want to do the roll call so everybody can plug anything they have going on. Mikey, you my friend, brothers of the world, going strong. Anything you want to promote?
Yeah, I mean, we still got Brothers of the World podcast. That's at BOTW Pod on Twitter, on Instagram as well. We haven't recorded in probably a month, actually. But
get on it, man.
We're still on it. We're still on it. We just had some scheduling issues. I had grad finals. A lot of stuff just been going on, but we're definitely going to get on. Going to talk some Scudetto, of course. I mean, you've got to, and also doing a little bit of writing with Jerry on Serpents of Madonnina. So check those guys out too.
How about you, Anthony? And I am going to be hopping on with you in a little bit for Inter Worldwide. Anything you want to promote?
No, you said it just there. Anybody who wants some any content, reactory content, whatever's going on with Inter, it's a happy time to be an Inter fan. So the motivation is very high. So get on it. And we'll be live soon as well. Thank you so much for having me. It's always a pleasure. And Raki, I see you, baby. Don't think because I didn't say anything doesn't mean I don't see you. My man, we'll talk soon.
And Raki, we have to get you back on because, dude, I've won so many bets on the Albanian national team. I feel a great debt of gratitude to you, man. I feel a great debt of gratitude. So thank you. At least
someone's feeling good from the Albanian national team, bro. Those guys are going to make me lose my hair.
I bring them good luck, I guess. I mean, I think there was one game they played against England, and so I stayed away from it. But when they play against shit teams, usually they have enough to just scrape by.
Enough low pizzazz.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man, Jerry, what about you, man? You doing so much writing. Anything you want to promote?
Yeah, I wrote a piece today actually for Serpents of Madonnina today. Winners or losers. Finally got it done today. A piece for Laziale as well. 3 takeaways from their loss. Fuck my life. But other than that, I think that's what it's going to come down to next season, where I'll just be writing for these 2 sites because it's taking a lot of my time. And not a lot of my time. I have a lot of decisions going forward in my life, so I need to narrow down to the sites I kind of want to write for. And in regards to people, why I write for the Inter site, it's kind of grown my viewership, and it's gotten me a different area where people are reading my work, and I get a lot more attention with Inter stuff compared to Lazio because we're a smaller club. So that was just a personal decision where I decided to start writing Inter, and I like I said, I have a good following of Inter fans right now, and they're very respectful. So I'll always support Inter because not one Inter fan has bashed me, even when I made jokes. Whereas Milan and Juve rip me apart. Roma doesn't count because Roma is an exception. They're allowed to bash me. That's just honorary. But with Milan and Juve, they just chew me apart, man. It's holy fuck, man. You guys are sensitive.
Man.
Not my fucking fault. Your teams are shit. Yo, Mikey, if you ever need a guy to come on, because I watch every Inter game now, along with Lazio. Those are the 2 games I watch every weekend. And any other game I watch is just bonus. Because this pod, I have to commit to Inter and Lazio just so I know what I'm talking about. I don't sound like an idiot. So, that's why I watch every game. So if you ever need a guy to assist you, give me a shout. I'll help you out. And no worries, man.
Yeah, man, definitely. I mean, we've been having some scheduling issues, been a little short-handed, so definitely we'll maybe get that crossover in the future. Yeah, we've already had Donno on, might as well.
Yeah.
Let me know. I'm free. And I'm not biased, so don't worry. I stay open-minded.
Oh, you can be as biased as you want. I mean,
no, fuck that.
That's the whole fun, Jerry. That's the whole fun. You gotta have a little agenda going.
So we'll close it out on that note. Everyone, make sure you buy Scudetto merch, buy some His Sense TVs, put some money in Mr. Zhang's pocket, and get us out of
any financial trouble. We're starting to enter GoFundMe this summer. We're gonna fund DePaul this summer.
Oh, I
Paul,
like that.
Fuck. I heard he's going to Milan. I heard every fucking Tom, Dick, and Harry's going to Milan.
Every player's going to Milan, right?
Every player's
On
going to
loan, right?
Milan, and every player's going to
On
fucking
loan.
Roma. Two teams are fucking in debt. Figure that one
Mourinho
out.
season.
Yeah.
Roma's gonna be deadly. It's gonna be scary.
Oh, awesome.
Mourinho's gonna dig that team another $300 million debt. Don't worry. Can't
Really?
wait.
So huge thanks to everyone who joined us live and chatted with us. I'm going to be hopping on. I think Anthony had to dip out to get the stream ready for Inter Worldwide, so I'm going to hop on that in a few moments. We will talk to everyone next time on another episode of the Calcio Connection podcast. Ciao.